This isn't a widespread issue among citizens of this city. This is a small subset of individuals who think they can play by their own rules because they continue to get a slap on the wrist when we arrest them. Despite the legislation we passed last year for being a repeat gun offender and breaking the law, these individuals still insist on doing just that. I'm tired of it. Everybody in this city should be tired of it. The Chicago Police Department cannot do this alone. Mayor Emanuel has made significant investments in mentoring at-risk youth and creating job opportunities in some of our most challenged neighborhoods, but he can't do it alone. We need everyone, especially our judicial partners, to start making repeat gun offenders feel the real consequences for their actions. We need our governor to sign a bill that makes it more difficult for habitual armed offenders to obtain weapons. We need the community and community leaders to work with us. We need parents to be parents. We need neighborhoods to be neighborhoods. You all know who these individuals are. They come to your homes every day, sleep with you every night. Grandparents, parents, siblings, significant others. You know who they are. We also need those involved with the community to mentor our youth. As a department, we've worked really hard and invested countless man-hours and resources to identify individuals that are disproportionately causing the violence in certain parts of the city. These shootings are not random. They are fueled by gang conflicts. We know who they are, and we continue to send a message that it's okay to commit these crimes by not doing anything as a community. We are all supposed to be on the same side. CPD can be better, but this city can be better. All of those people that I mentioned before need to work together against the violence so that our communities can rebuild. And despite what we saw this weekend, I'm still pleased between CPD's work, the mayor's investments, and the work of our community members that we're still reducing overall gun violence this year. But we still have a lot more work to do. And I think that was evidenced by this weekend. But we need everyone to come to the table with less talk and more action. And now I'd like to ask Mayor Emanuel, CPD's biggest supporter, to come up and share some thoughts.
I'd also like to thank the commander, the superintendent, the alderman. This morning, I spoke at a graduation of young men and women as part of our summer jobs. Their parents were there. And I told them then, as I told them about taking my train in with my daughter as she went to her summer job. These are young kids from our high schools. And I said to the parents, you know, in the Jewish faith, when you get married, you break the glass. And the reason is to remind us that in a moment of joy and happiness and celebration of life, life is fragile. And I asked the parents, in the same way that I said goodbye to my daughter on the train, and they're looking at their children celebrating this milestone, to hug them, to tell them that you love them. Because I was leaving that graduation, and I was going to Mount Sinai and Stroger Hospital. To hug the doctors and nurses and medical teams. While they acted professionally, they too have a soul. And let them know how much I appreciated what they did this weekend. Look, we have a heavy heart. Our souls are burdened. What happened this weekend did not happen in every neighborhood in Chicago, but it is unacceptable to happen in any neighborhood of Chicago. We are a better city. I know the people of this city, of every walk of life. I've been on the phone with a mother today, 2 of them. They have the same aspirations, same desires that I do for my children that you do. And somebody on a bike takes that child from that parent. This is not about the Chicago Police Department alone. It's not about a summer jobs program alone. This is about the fabric of a neighborhood and community. As the superintendent just said, who knows who did this? So if you say enough is enough, we must come forward as a neighborhood where a moral center of gravity holds. I saw it, as the Supt did, with Pastor Brooks on the west side on Wednesday night. Police, religious leaders, congregants, people from all parts of the city walking together. You can talk about the weather, but the weather didn't pull the trigger. And you can talk about jobs, and they count, but in parts of the city where there aren't jobs, people did not pull the trigger. There are values. There are too many guns on the street, too many people with criminal records on the street, and there is a shortage of values about what is right, what is wrong, what is acceptable, what is condoned, and what is condemned. And we as a city, in every corner, have an accountability and a responsibility. If you know who did this, be a neighbor. Speak up. Neighbors, come together. The city will be with you shoulder to shoulder. But this is not about alone how many police, where were they. The superintendent will take accountability for that. This is not about how many summer jobs investment. We will do that, and we have more to do, much more to do. But there's something more at stake. And all of us know that this is not Chicago, what we saw. Therefore, all of us who love this city and call it home have a responsibility to heal our neighborhoods, to hold a mother or a father or a grandmother in our arms. And as they heal, we as a city must heal. Not by pointing fingers, but by finding compassion and concern and actually being a neighborhood and community. I have met these people, as yesterday in Belmont-Cragen, celebrating together the possibility of a new school. That is who I know we are, and we are better than what we saw. It may not have been in your neighborhood. It may not have been in your community. It may not have been in your block. But that block, that neighborhood, and that community is in the city of Chicago, and it is part of our home. And the people that make that up, that community, know that they have a city that stands with them. And as I said to the doctors and nurses today, to not forget to take care of themselves as well. My parents met at Mount Sinai. They did a heroic job as our police officers did as our residents. But they too have a soul. They too have a heart. And this rips at both of those. We owe it to each other to do better and be better.
Same questions.
Superintendent, have any people been arrested in connection with the shootings that happened this weekend?
Say again?
And you are listening live right now to Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson along with Mayor Emanuel responding to a violent weekend here in Chicago. And the mayor's press release that he was going to be here this morning actually said no media availability. So, of course, we're waiting to hear from the mayor himself as to his answers going forward. Again, at our count, 60 people shot since dinner time on Friday night. And the interesting thing about this is that every news media outlet in the city has a different number. It's almost like you can't keep track at this point. And so, obviously, the mayor and superintendent on the hot spot today.